All right. Good afternoon and welcome to the Empowered Man Ministry WebEx series, Knowledge Sharing. And today, September 30th, we have a Market Intelligence Predictive Analytics session that will be brought to us by Wiseman Chimbani. And we really appreciate all the time and effort he has put into this. Chimbani is currently based in North Carolina and is very enthusiastic about this field of market intelligence and anything accounting plus more. Is a guy you should need to get to know and is a man of God, and I'm excited to have him here with us. Mr. Chimbani, how are you?
Thank you, sir. How are you doing? How's everybody?
We're well, counting down to San Diego, so looking forward to having everyone with us there. And thank you again for taking this opportunity to share and hopefully inspire somebody to maybe add something to their resume or, have a field that they can focus on if somebody's in college or looking for a change. So basically today we're talking about marketing intelligence, and we want to kind of get a brief understanding of who Wiseman Chimbani is. Maybe just 2 minutes. Tell us what your current roles are, what you hope to achieve with this session, and basically anything else that's going on. And I think the main point being, is there any business size that could not use analytics? Those are some of the points we'll touch on before you take a deep dive. So basically, tell us about what you're doing currently and maybe some of what you have done that has led you to this point as an expert, SME in your space.
So basically, my background by training, I'm an accountant. So I have a bachelor's, a master's, CPA, and a PhD in accounting. So that's my academic background. And at work, I've done for the past 5, 6, 7 years accounting and marketing intelligence. So that is the word marketing is kind of deceiving because most people, when they hear the word marketing, they think someone does marketing. So marketing, the idea behind it, marketing intelligence, is that in any business, every business you go to, you use data. Okay, so marketing intelligence is the element of how to convert data in a way that it's easy to communicate or to market, because at the end of the day, it's either you're selling something or you're buying something. So marketing intelligence is a sophisticated way of taking data, taking information, looking at day-to-day activities and making it sellable so that the customer, inside customers, your employees and other customers can understand and can add value to them. So my past background, I've built predictive models. One of the predictive models I've built for Continental Tires was a model that was trying to increase what's called a pull-through rate. So in simple terms, it's if you are in a business of buying and selling cars and you put tires in them, and let's say a customer, Wilson as a customer buys a BMW, and then he drives that BMW. So by using that BMW, he's going to get some utility and satisfaction. So that satisfaction is a form of free marketing. So marketing intelligence is to say, how can I make sure Wilson as a customer can do a repeat business because he has actual usage of my product. So once I know I can sell him the first time, then the second, third time, I need to build a system that can allow him to systematically keep buying without me having to put more effort. So that's the stuff I had to do before. So I built a model that was able to increase a pull-through rate for BMW Range Rover from 25 million to around 150 million in the space of 3 years. So, and then I've also built replacement models. So as we go through, I'm going to explain what all those are. So that is my background basically. And then I've done accounting, in terms of strategy accounting, how you build a 5-year plan in terms of strategy, how you grow your business segment, your a divisional growth. So I've done almost all those things from the high level to the lowest level. So this is my very basic summary of what I've done and who I am. And
all right. So
go ahead.
no, I was going to say, I forgot to say Dr. Chimbani. I know you prefer to go by Wiseman, but I'll take the pleasure in addressing you as Dr. Chimbani for a few more times. So, yes, that's a pretty impressive resume, and it sounds like a lot is going on with work. So, do you care to share anything else that may be going on outside of accounting, marketing intelligence, and work?
Yeah. So right now I got a new role. So I'm currently working for a company. I'm responsible for 3 divisions. So the company has 5 divisions. So I'm responsible for 3 divisions, and across 2 countries, US and Canada, and I have about around 10 people under my team. So right now,
Okay.
so God has given me the scope instead of me just doing my own thing. And He has given me some people to share with and manage. So which is a growth in skill set, going beyond just knowing
Perfect.
what to do to managing people.
What about when you're not at work? What is Wiseman up to?
So when I'm not at work, 90% of the time, every Sunday or the other Sunday, I like hiking a lot. So I always
Okay.
like particular places I go to, try to hike 3 to 6 miles every week on like mostly Sunday, and watch soccer
Okay.
and play FIFA.
That's good. That's good. So looking forward to connecting in San Diego. I think we'll have some FIFA there as well. So bring your A game. PlayStation 4, not PC. So as far as as far as marketing intelligence, I think if someone was to consider your resume, your background, it might seem intimidating. But are these concepts limited to Fortune 500 organizations, or even if you're running a very humble business, you can also use some of these concepts to get more effectiveness or more efficiencies?
Very interesting question. Like I said before, the word marketing intelligence it's kind of intimidating because just think it's sophisticated and they shy away. So marketing intelligence is a very basic point. For example, if let's assume you are a person who is into growing like tomatoes, and you want to understand the business customers that are selling tomatoes, you can basically take the data and try to dissect the data and see, okay, on a day-to-day basis, how many months does it take me to grow my tomatoes? And if I grow those tomatoes, how much cost do I spend trying to, from the day I plant the seed and the day I harvest, and what kind of customer segments do I sell those customers? And then I can analyze of the customer segments, who is my biggest customer, and then I can try to focus my effort. So in simple terms, any business has a channel. Anytime you sell something, there's a channel that you sell to, and secondly, there's a segment. So every business you go to, whether it's selling oranges, tomatoes, sweets in the street, there's always a customer, which is a segment. Then there's a channel that you go through. Are you a wholesaler? Are you a person who sells like business to business? So there's also concepts are not limited to the size of the business, but it's more applicable across board. As long as we have data, we can always do enough modeling. As long as we have historical data, that can help us to see the past trends and then try to predict into the future.
I think that's good news for everyone because to our listeners, I'm sure everybody is in some form or fashion of business. So there you have it. Do not from using some of these concepts to gain some advantage and be a leader in your space. So you can take us away to what marketing intelligence is and walk us through your model.
Okay. It will be my pleasure to do so. So marketing intelligence, as we go through, I'll try to speed up and then summarize. And sometimes some of the slides, I'll just lump them together. If you go to slide 2, next slide. So, which is very important. When you look at market research and market intelligence, there are 2 spectrums. Marketing research tends to go and look at what the customer did. Let's say Wilson goes and buys all his goods on Amazon. Market research mostly focuses on what someone has done. Marketing intelligence, on the other side, it's forward-looking. In other words, it goes beyond what you bought, because what you bought is what you bought. But what I'm more interested in is to know the drivers, what caused you to do that, because human beings are creatures of tendencies or habits. So marketing intelligence tries to zoom in into each individual customer habits. Once you know the customer habits, you can be able to zoom in and able to kind of plan ahead in terms of inventory, in terms of product, in terms of plans and everything, because you know that human beings tend to behave the same and they seldom deviate from their kind of habits. So marketing intelligence tries to take the past behavior, then drills in to find out the drivers, then take those drivers, and then try to predict. So as you can see, it begins by data collection. As we said before, every business has data. So the first phase of marketing intelligence, take data, which is historical, but on its own, historical doesn't tell me. I'm trying to look for correlations. I'm trying to look for patterns on behaviors. Once I take those behaviors, then I can take those data, create tables, and then make sure they're systematic in a way that can help me to replicate them, and then analyze the data. Once I analyze the data and then look at those elements, then I can put some recommendation, which is action, and then planning. So it's a cycle. You plan, collect data, analyze, action, plan, collect data. So it's a self-repetitive cycle. So the more information you get, the more you can keep revising your drivers so that as you move forward, you can be able to zoom in and go forward. Next slide. Next slide.
And so it sounds like without data collection, you have nothing going on. People have to get in the habit of collecting data.
Very much, very much, very much. It is mandatory. I always tell people, for anyone who is a business, it's a habit. No matter how useless it seems, you must always collect data, because with the data, I can always try to tell a story. But with no data, all I have is intuition, which sometimes is subjective. It doesn't tell me much, but data tells me the drivers and what has happened. But without that historical aspect, I'm more lost.
Right, and I think that, looking back at some of the very smaller businesses, whether you're running a tuck shop or you're vending tomatoes or you have a printing shop, even something like Excel would be a good tool. I mean, for such processes as data collection and then some of the ingestion of this data. So I think to any of viewers or listeners, go ahead and start with Excel if you have nothing at all. But don't use WhatsApp. WhatsApp is not used for data collecting. I know sometimes people share numbers. Do not use WhatsApp. All right. Yeah.
Yep. No, that's a very good point. Like I said, that's to me, that's the most important thing. Is people, like they've done studies, that people who collect data over time and use it for decision making tend to improve their growth line over year, regardless of what industry they're in. And those who chose to ignore the data and then collect and use their intuition tend to be limited. So the myth is that if I have experience, I can make a decision. But experience is based on past behavior. But past behavior alone is insufficient. You need more intelligence into it. So collecting data and using experience, a combination of both, it kind of helps you to improve the qualitative decisions you make on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
Yep. So this slide kind of shows you in a visual. I put this together to kind of show you like that too. You can collect data internally. So let's say you are a person who runs like a tomato or something. Don't have anything outside. You can use what you have. And the more sophisticated you are, the more customers you have. You can also collect data externally. And then you can kind of combine those two elements to kind of create some indexes to see the growth of the customer and how each of those, what's the relationship between different data sources. So like we said before, the first phase is to collect data internally and externally, and then prepare the data, analyze it, and then also analyze that you can be able to gain knowledge. That knowledge, once used properly, it will help you to select and monitor, which is intelligent. Then it will help you to make a decision, and the decision can help you to execute.
Perfect. All right.
So this was an working example. I have many of them, but I just told you others are more complex than these ones. So I told you one which I considered not as complex.
Okay.
So this is one.
So before you proceed, what I wanted to do was in your presentation I was looking at earlier, I wanted people to sort of have a picture in their head of what the end goal is. As you go through your process and your model, which, yes, could be complex and, maybe a deep dive at a later time could be required for people to fully digest what you have. But that's why, this slide came first as the goal of what you're doing as far as information or a tool for someone to make a decision. But here you go. You can take it away.
Well, that's a good idea because, the end goal, like you show that dashboard, as Brother Wilson showed, the end goal is to kind of be able to see the interaction of different data points, the trends over time. As you can see, the pie chart will show you something different. The bar chart shows something different. The lines show something different. As you kind of comprehensively combine all those different pieces, you're able to make more qualitative information and less subjective. So that's the idea. That's the end goal. The data itself is just the ingredients that helps you to cook the meal so that it's palatable and good.
All right.
So here I just give different data sources, like what I did. You don't have to know the sources of information. I'm just giving you basically. So this is, remember, if you remember in the previous slide, I showed that when you collect data, it's either internally or externally. So this is a combination of both.
So this is external. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Externally. Yep.
Right.
So, and then this is the chart I put together. I put a mathematical model to look at assumptions. So this is in construction equipment. If you've been on the highway at night, you see those skid steer machines that make roads. So each of those machines have different useful life. So one of my tasks was to kind of create a predictive model to see how the terms of usage, utilization, when there's inflation, when there's recession, when there's not. So that is so, and then it shows how many years it takes for that machine before it exits or it dies completely and not be used. So that's the assumption page.
Some kind of depreciation model, maybe.
Yes. So the idea behind it is a waterfall. So this one shows you the population. In other words, in any time you are doing a predictive something, you always begin by population. A population of guavas, a population of tomatoes, a population of cars, a population of male, a population of female. So there's always a population of some sort. So the key thing is to know, okay, this is the population. The population is it's what I'm trying to predict. Okay, so if you remember, like in statistics, there's the dependent variable, and then there's the independent variable. So once you understand the two pieces, what's a dependent variable? A dependent variable is something that's dependent on some other sort, the outcome. When the independent variable is the variable that works on its own. So anytime you are building a model, you're going to have at least one to multiple independent variables. So this one is kind of one of the independent variables, knowing the population and how it's sorted out. So when you look on the far left, the backhaul, blah, 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 skid steer, those are different populations of machines and the years which they were bought. So each year shows you how many new machines were bought of that year, from 2002 all the way to 2016. So that's the population, the variables.
Okay.
And then this one is an actual model. So if you go onto Excel file, I created what's called a drop-down list where you put a formula, where when you pick like a backhoe, a skid steer, those numbers that you see automatically calculates. It's a waterfall. So the concept behind this is this: if for anything that you buy, for example, sticking to the example I'm showing, a skid steer machine is that machine that's used for construction. Like if we have seen construction, it's that little thing, that ugly thing with big tires. So when you buy 100 of those one, okay? So it's a waterfall. In 2001, there will be 100. In 2002, you scrap maybe 5, then 95. In 2003, you scrap 10. So as you scrape forward, the number is decreasing. So it's a waterfall. So it tracks that machine from the day it entered the market to the day it exits the market. Then once you've done that, and then you begin to add the totals over time. So that's the kind of logic behind it. It's a waterfall because it's simply saying the machines every year are going to be decreasing because as they get older, they'll be scrapped out of the market, or if they die or something of some sort. So that's the idea behind that waterfall. And then the arrow I show is the actual number I'm looking for. It's a number of the active machines as opposed to machines which were sold. So I'm looking for active machines because that's the one I use to predict the demand for tires for that machine.
Okay.
Yep. So that's the skid steer, correct. And then these ones are different variables. In that machine, you can drill down. If it's a skid steer, there's a bias, there's a radar, there's solid. I won't bother you on the details, but the keyword is, remember, these are variables, remember, which that you help you to predict. Yep. Move.
Okay.
So you see the same element, the variables. So once you've done the variables, so at first, go back. When you look at the first element were machines, so we're able to use those variables to predict from tire machines to tire output, two different things. A machine, a skid steer, has 4 tires. So I'm supposed to predict how many more tires I'm able to sell across North America. So the output is going to be the number of tires, which is my dependent variable. So my independent variable are different machine types, different machines, bias, radar, all those things cooked together. Once I cook all those elements, the end goal is I want to see how many tires I'm going to get for each machine overall, for each different category. So that box there shows you the total population of tires across North America.
Okay.
Yep. And then this one is kind of shows you, I go further and then I look at the historical behavior. Then I use weighted average where I show you what's causing this machine to increase or decrease, which is more of the qualitative. So in other words, no matter how good your data is, you should have some knowledge of the industry that's qualitative. So, for example, if you're growing tomatoes, you should read news about it's winter. What happens in winter? Tomatoes die. So that even though it's not quantitative, you know that in winter tomatoes die. So you take that non-quantitative element and use it to factor into your predictability. So it's not only quantitative, it's other qualitative factors. So each person in their industry, in their business, need to be aware of the seasonality of a business because no business booms across the entire 12 months. There are months where it's down. So you have to factor in when they're down, what's causing down. Are there any other substitutes? Like, for example, on this one, you can see that other market machine isn't going as fast because there's a machine which is a substitute. So once you know those vectors, they allow you to kind of factor in and put as variables and quantify it so that as you forecast into the next 4 or 5 years, you can see the effect of each of those elements.
Okay. So we're back to the end goal.
Yep.
Right. You can go ahead and walk us through again. I think now that everyone has had an idea of what it takes to come here, you can give us another quick rundown.
So if you remember, I talked about what's called a pull-through rate. I gave an example of Wilson as a customer. He buys a BMW, he uses it, and he enjoys it. Then he goes and changes tires or changes oil change. It's going to go to the same customer, same dealer because there's a situation. So that output is taking all those variables, that model, and then putting it into different customer brands. So Toyota is a company that we supply tiles to. So that model, it says, after I've done all my predictive analysis, what is my pull-through element? Am I able to retain the customers that I gained when they bought the machines at the beginning? If the answer is no, then I have to look at my numbers. Why is that number down or up? What do I need to do as a manager to go and increase my market share for this customer or this customer? Do I need to put more salespeople? Do I need to change the sales channel? So that dashboard gives you the different drivers. Is it the channel that's the issue? Is it seasonality? Is it what? So by looking at those elements, you can see the sales mix of each of those customers, sales mix of each of the product lines. So that's basically the summary. So once you've looked at those variables based on your knowledge and experience, you can be able to make more intelligent decisions that can help you to look forward and minimize losses and maximize your returns or profits.
Okay. Minimize losses, maximize profits. I think at the end of the day, that is the end goal. And for many of us viewing here or listening in, the end goal is what's the takeaway from here? I think in some cases you're a business owner, but many of us are not business owners. So what is your advice? This looks like an executive dashboard, maybe something you gave to a VP or maybe a director, and it looks like it's in Excel. So as far as skill sets for maybe somebody who's in college or someone who's trying to pick up other skills and be able to perform this, what tools do you think are practically useful for somebody to maybe immediately be able to start looking up ways to maybe reproduce, similar concepts for dashboarding? Do they have to have a powerful system, or what are your tips?
That's a very good question. That's why I chose to use Excel. I have other softwares which are more sophisticated, but costly. Excel is cheap and it's easily available as compared to other softwares. So the good thing about Excel is they've really put almost all tools that you can use to do any modeling. So my advice to people is who wants to learn all those things is to go just learn Excel basics. Once you learn Excel basics and how to do things, you can watch some videos here and there. But also you need to know how to link, because linking formulas is not an Excel thing. It's a skill set that you have to kind of have like natural intuition. But for me, my advice is like kind of talk to or bounce your ideas. I wouldn't mind in the future for those who are interested to actually host an Excel lesson, how to build dashboards one-on-one, show them how to build a basic dashboard using different functions, some if functions, concatenate, all those elements. It's not that complicated, it's just knowing the logic and how to move around. So for me, my advice, Excel is the best way to start because it's cheap, it's accessible, and easy to learn. You can just go on YouTube and learn some basic tricks. Once you learn those tricks, then you can try to harness and then try to link them together and come up with an easy, cool-looking dashboard.
All right, you heard it from Dr. Chimbani out of North Carolina. Excel is the way to go. Do not underestimate it, although other tools are much more powerful with other functions. But for the purposes of giving this presentation for executive reporting, hey, you can have Excel. Get your data sets from other systems, from your database system, and then pull that population and do all the fancy stuff that we've been walked through here, and you can have something that will give you a way to minimize your losses and maximize your profits. So again, any questions? I guess one question I had for you, yes, was that Excel question, and I think you answered very well, and I agree with you. In Excel you can do many things, but the very simple things like you're saying, that dashboarding and just clear presentation is what's really powerful, and especially because virtually everyone has a PC and usually has Office on it, Microsoft Office, and if you have Excel, just start looking around. And it sounds like soon we'll be having the Excel dashboarding 101 coming up, and I think we'll have to work on that and see what timing that can be for. But I'm excited about that because I think being in the computer science, software space, Ubuntu is a big thing. There's a lot of open source code. South Africans have their Ubuntu, Linux-like operating system, and I think sharing is caring, and it's a way we grow in numbers as well as strength. And I think having a session such as this is pretty important. So I don't know if there are other listeners out there that have maybe other skills to share. I think it'll be very handy to have those in our community. That way you can probably have even a great number of skilled workers to pick from when you decide to grow your teams. So I think that's the end of our presentation here. It looks like I hadn't updated that contact deck, so I decided to skip it. But Chimbani, Doctor, where can people reach you if they have any questions?
They can always reach me through WhatsApp. You're free. You can share my details with them. Just add me to your WhatsApp, then WhatsApp me, then from there on we can move together. If you want to like a one-on-one session and everything, I'm available like normally in the evenings if I'm not traveling or on weekends.
Perfect. There you have it, guys. This has been brought to you by Empowered Men Ministries. We'll be in San Diego, October 25th through the 28th. We hope to see you there. If we don't see you there, we hope to see you at the next retreat. Otherwise, expect some information on the next knowledge sharing series session that we'll give you. And stay blessed and bring us your skills, and let's build one another. Thank you, wise men. Have a great afternoon.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Bye.